you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
All right, here we are. Welcome back to Common Folk.
I'm so confused. What the hell is going on?
The live podcast for the people.
Normally
by
that's
the people.
the first thing we do.
The first ever live.
Yes. Yeah. Video live. We're streaming. We're doing it all.
So here we are today. If you're watching live, you're one of the lucky few. If not, you can watch it after the fact. Hopefully it works. It might not work. We might delete it. We might have to figure something else out. But
Looks good. Looks good so far.
we're trying to make this thing work. So we're not audio video experts. Andy has a little bit of background in it because he's works for the news channel.
Self-taught.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of self-taught. So he's got some things going on. We went to the local camera store up in Omaha, who has all the things.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I talked to him about all of those things. It was super confusing.
Mm-hmm.
They had this nice used camera that I was like, okay, I'm going to start with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that thing bought. That's what people are watching right now. It's a great device. We'll try to use it for a number of different things. We'll see. We've got our old school audio recorder pumping in the audio right now, which it's a great device as well. So
Yes, it is.
who knows? We're trying to figure out how to make things work. So here we go.
All right.
Here we go. So Common Folk Live. Today, let's have just a quick little conversation that a lot of people are thinking about right now, and that is the election. So the election's what, the 5th? November 5th?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Today's October 17. So we're a couple of weeks from that. There's already a lot of early voting going on, mail-in voting, whatever, however all that works.
Yep.
I have not heard any news as far as like what those results are. I don't think they're going to publish those.
Yeah. I don't think they are supposed to.
Yeah, probably
The
not.
only thing I heard was that there was such confusion on Nebraska voting and then Iowa. It was after, so people wanted to go to the polls in Iowa, and it wasn't like early voting. That's what the news was saying the other day. I'm like, is it not everybody the same day? I guess not. So do we even know that?
I don't.
Okay.
The big thing with Nebraska right now is they passed a deal where ex-convicts can vote.
I saw that, yeah.
So
yeah. That literally happened like just this week, right?
Yeah.
So felons in Nebraska are now, they've gone through their rehabilitation, all those kinds of things. I think they have to qualify.
Yes.
But they can vote now.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like just
Is that,
right
is that
in
a good
time.
thing or a bad thing? Do
Well,
we think?
I listen to, a number of different like talk radio stuff or whatever. Excuse me. One of the primary ones is NPR, which is always left. We know that.
Sure.
Like they lean that way. Their interpretation was that the majority of these folks are in a district that usually leans left.
It's the blue dot.
Yeah.
Right.
And they are going to have a fair amount of influence on that particular district. And that district has one electoral college vote.
Yes.
So it's important. It's
It is.
important.
It is an important one.
Is Zach entering the chat right now?
Yeah, he is. Well,
Okay, so that's what I was thinking, that they want more votes for the left. Is that
Right.
what we're thinking?
Well, we don't know necessarily what these guys are going to vote for. It was just that they are in an
They're-
area that has
oh.
normally leaned left, so they might
that's where the most-
help swing it the other way.
that's where most of
Okay.
the inmates are, is in that that area. I think this could be a huge case of careful what you wish for. You got this pushed through, and you don't know how these people are going to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're fed up with one side versus the other side. Maybe they're thinking,
Yep.
why did I have my right to vote taken away in the first place?
Yeah.
I
Exactly,
served my
yeah.
time, I served my piece. Like, why can't I vote right now?
Okay.
So I think that all that's to be determined, and it is peculiar that it got passed 2 weeks, 3 weeks
yeah.
before.
Huh,
November.
weird timing.
Yeah.
It was the same as the last week when Nebraska tried to do the all or none vote, where that would have secured, where if the majority would have been one way or the other, all electoral votes went that way. And Nebraska is one of two states that don't do it that way. And if I really dive into it, I kind of like that. I think it furthers everyone's vote and voice counts. Like, why not? Why not split up the districts? And if you have a population that's big enough to support splitting up your electoral votes, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Sure.
Do it.
Why would you just want to lump everybody all for one side?
Yeah.
When it's a 60-40, let's take Texas. It goes 60-40 on all those electoral votes. Nope, you're all red. Nope, you're all blue. Well, no, that's not what happened. You know, that's not how the vote went down. So I kind of appreciate Nebraska being a little left of center compared to a lot of other states.
Yeah.
And not being a winner-take-all
Okay.
state. So I don't know. It just kind of sucks when it doesn't go your way, right?
Right.
I got so we're doing the live stream. My buddy that's watching, he said that there's a little delay. The audio sounds good, but the video's a little bit choppy. So we'll stick up with that. We'll see what's going on.
It says stream is healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Could
Well,
be a
you
number
could
of things.
tell when you watch. Like, I just posed right here, but I really didn't pose. Did you see that?
No.
Well, there is going to be a delay, but I get it.
No,
I
but
get it with the
it did like a
choppiness.
freeze for a second. It was like freeze frame.
Maybe,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure how this.
See, look.
Yeah.
We're learning. So back to that, like local stuff. Everyone when you talk about election, everyone wants to talk about like the president, right? I mean, that's the main thing. That's the main point of conversation.
That's a big one.
But there's a lot of local things going on. And in my opinion, you can have a whole lot more impact. Not even my opinion, it's a fact. You can have a whole lot more impact locally than you can on the national stage.
Sure.
And for me, the problem that I have is getting educated on the local elections. So is it my fault? Am I not going out and searching enough? Am I not being presented enough? Am I only being presented what each side wants me to hear?
Yeah.
So therefore I'm not, you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
I think that's a big part of the election conversation.
And the outreach, it all just goes to the top. All the support money, all the PAC money, it all goes to the top two dogs, right? And forget about your school board, forget about your county road maintainer, kind of road guy.
Right.
And especially for you guys out here, I think that road guy really matters.
Oh, that's a fact. Because I'm the road guy.
So we got to get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but to your point, I mean, just even watching bunny ears at home, the dang commercials are so annoying, and that is the only time I can hear
And
one
that's-
side or the other,
that's what
and
I was
I
gonna
don't
get
know
to
if they're
next.
legit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to next. So for folks like us, years ago we decided no more satellite TV, no more cable TV. We're done with this stuff. It's a waste of money, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people have done it. They've cut the cord,
Yep,
all the things, right?
Now paying more for all this streaming services.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it comes back around. But either way, we have bunny ears, the antenna. So we've got 15 channels to choose from. They all kind of show the same kind of thing. But we're watching the shows in the evening, and it's, 3, 6, 7, 15, 42, your main ones.
Yeah.
And the political commercials are just bombing those
Sure.
channels right now.
It's a late
Yeah.
run. Gotta
And
do
it's so interesting to me. Like, I sit there and watch it. I think the answer is a debate, but I sit there and watch it, and I see the back and forth between the two candidates. This candidate's commercial, this candidate's commercial. This one, this one, this one, this one, back and forth, back and forth. They're doing is talking shit about each other, both of them, the whole time.
And they're saying the exact opposite of one another. And so it's like, well, one of you two's lying. And then they get out of that by saying, well, maybe it's a misrepresentation, or maybe I'm stretching this or stretching it. It's like those commercials do no good because they say it's a 180 from each other. They both accuse the other one of lying through what they're pulling for. And I mean, it doesn't matter if the local one that I bet you guys are seeing a lot of is Deb Fisher and Osborne.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, ooh, I know who I'm voting for, but
Yeah, well,
I don't know that it has
just based
anything
on
to do with
commercials,
it.
which a lot of people listening to this have
based
no
on
idea of that
commercials.
race.
I'm voting for Deb.
See? But why? But that's the point. Why?
I don't know why, because Osborne had a blue collar worker on there, Deb did, and this guy was a blue collar worker, and he hates Osborne.
Okay.
There you go. So the commercial, like last night, we watched TV last night for a couple of hours because our son, who's still at home, he likes Survivor.
Oh, I thought you said he likes politics.
No, no. So he's watching Survivor. Well, in every commercial break, it's those two.
Yeah.
You know, and there might be a couple of other things sprinkled in.
Mm-hmm.
But what she's getting at is this commercial that played 10 times was some dude. It said where he was from in Nebraska.
Yeah.
It showed his job, all these things. And the dude was like, you know, Dan Osborne, he's just in disguise. He's a Democrat in disguise.
And he's
you know,
for the burr.
yeah, all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
So you see that. So that's my point is that. So Morgan's a great example. The only thing she's seen is those commercials.
Right.
And so those commercials have made her decide, oh, this is the lady I want to vote for because of those commercials. I'm sitting there looking at that going, oh, my God. Like, there couldn't be any more contradictory statements between the two of these, like what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
How do I believe either one of them? I want to see the two of them. Like, I want to see – what I want to see is a half an hour or an hour of those two sitting there playing each other's commercials and then talking about those commercials.
Oh, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
That would be good.
Now,
what a good idea.
What do you mean by that, Deb? I mean, you just straight up called him a liar and a snake in the grass. What do you mean by that?
100%. 100%.
That'd be good.
And let the dude talk about the accusations and vice versa.
That ain't gonna happen, though.
It's not, but see, that's the logical. That is this common folk perspective. We sit here and look at this stuff, and we're like, let's just get to the truth.
Yeah, I'd like it if they're less insulated. You know, maybe that's what we need to do on News Channel Nebraska next, right? Have a few of these local debates. You know,
why
there
not?
You go.
Yeah,
why not? Right?
Yeah.
If you could get it in front of enough people, I think
that'd be fantastic too.
And the debate, the thing is the debate thing. Like I think the debate environment or whatever is probably the right way to go about it, but not the way that so many of these national debates have been.
It's
managed and run.
I forget the term that our old boss man used because he was really hammering some old tired slogans when he was running for Congress. And, came around like, why do you keep bringing that up? Like, we're over that. Everyone's already on your side. We know that on the other side, you know. He goes, no, it's geopolitics. You got to keep hammering it. You got to get that message out. If I'm going to win, I need to hammer on this one thing. So, like, he's looking at it as like a national level. You know, it's just a different way of thinking.
I think what the reality is that they've figured out that here's the things that we need to say and here's the angles we need to hit them from. And they're talking about the people. And they're like, because this is what's going to influence them and this is what's going to get us votes.
Right.
But then you have folks like us who are sitting back and looking at this going, man, I need more information.
Right.
Like, this isn't making sense. So then what happens, and I don't know if this is for a lot of people, but for myself, I look at that and I go, okay, I'm seeing these two going at it. I'm seeing their stupid commercials of hollering at each other.
Right.
And I'm not prepared to vote for either one of them. So screw both of them.
Yeah.
I'm not voting on it.
But here's the other side.
Oh, so you're
That's
gonna sit out.
you. See, that's you. But what they want is probably quick bait, right? That's what that is. And for something to lodge in my brain. And when I'm going to vote for the president and I know who I'm voting for, I'm just going to remember that one little thing and boom, fill in that little bubble.
And that
is what they want.
It
And
is, yeah.
I can say I have been guilty of doing that for sure. But I also will read the nominations or the people that are on the ballot. And if I don't know, I just don't fill it out.
you shouldn't fill it out. You
Because
should
I'm
leave
not
that to
just,
those
like,
that are educated.
guessing.
But by hammering that one point home in something that's very simple, like he's a snake in the grass,
Yeah.
and then that's in your head.
And then you're like, oh.
Then you're also playing this complex where it's like, well, I can't tell. I want to tell everyone I voted, and I don't want to admit to myself that I don't know enough about this to vote. You know, so they're kind of feeding those people too.
Definitely,
Exactly
because
what
it's
they need
really
to do.
hard to dig deep and figure out the truth.
You didn't like Osborne's commercial where he's like, Deb Fisher's been bought off by Big Ag. That's why she's never back. That's why she doesn't do anything. That's why she hasn't had a town hall in 12 years. Like, that resonates with me. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
She hasn't. And you know what? Yeah. And then
I don't remember if I saw that one.
He also said in his last commercial that, and man, they just hammer him quick, right? These slogans that just stick with you. That she vetoed Donald Trump's initial border thing that he tried to pass.
Oh.
And he's like, Republicans put that together and she voted it down. I was always for a secure border.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what his old party would have said.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
they would have been
right.
the first ones to veto. So it's like, man, what did she veto for real?
See,
You know?
And the reality is like exactly what you're talking about right there between those two is playing out between other two all across the country.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same
for
damn
sure.
shit. And nobody, unless you're going to like literally spend hours and try to dig in and figure out, and maybe that's our responsibility. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But you don't know.
no one has time for that. You just don't. And you know what's conflicting to me is that damn last name because I like Tom Osborne.
Yeah. Yep. And they've made that clear.
Are
No
they
relation.
family?
No relation.
Oh,
They made that.
okay.
They
Okay.
made that clear. Yeah.
You guys, I'm
But,
serious. I'm just saying, it's so hard.
For
Right.
folks who have no idea what Morgan's talking about.
Yeah.
Tom
I mean, come
Osborne is
on.
the greatest Nebraska football coach.
Of all time.
Of all
So
With this
you
political,
kind of need to like the Osborne last
You do.
name.
You do. It does seem like a little cheat code he's got going on there,
Totally.
right?
I
It
think
does.
he might win
Yeah.
just because of that.
No way. I think your initial thought where he's just a Democrat in disguise. That's from the people I talk to.
That's what's happening.
That's what I
Yeah.
get. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's the point is that it's like, man, how are you supposed to know? And
Yeah.
I just wish there was a different way that people would go about it. Like you said, someone like News Channel Nebraska comes along and says, "Hey, let's get these two together. Hey, I'm going to hold you responsible for everything that you've said and everything that you've done. Here, I'm going to play
Okay.
your commercial in front of you right now." Because at the end of your
That'd be
commercial,
awesome.
at the end of
Andy,
your
you need to do
commercial,
this.
you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
"I'm so and so, and I support this commercial or whatever it is." Right?
That big one. The reason nothing's been done is because Deb Fisher's been bought off by Big Ag. Okay.
Yeah.
Deb, what's your rebuttal to that? Like, why would he say that?
My exactly. But my point is that on TV and on these commercials, you're all big and bad, and you're saying, "Yep, this is what you just saw in this commercial is basically my words." Okay, so let's talk to you. You said these are your words.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to play this real quick. I want you to tell me.
We know what you're
I want you to tell me
saying.
what you think about these things. And then I want to hear the other guy say, "Oh, okay," or the other lady say,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay." Here's my rebuttal to that.
They're not going to do
Like a Kill
Can you
Tony type
imagine?
of. Well, you could do that too. Like have a
But
Kill
doesn't
Tony
that
setup.
just seem like so
Basic.
common sense?
But you
like,
Yeah.
know what would be good
They're
is
too
if there was an
insulated.
app and it was like this person is for this. He's like the exact same thing, and you know what they're
but
for
what-
and
what would
against,
ha-
and
what
then
would
you can
happen is-
compare them.
What would happen is it would get
Yeah,
spun,
Snopes got.
and they would be like, "Well, the app is run by
Yeah.
the right, and
Or
they
the
run
Russians.
everything that way." Yeah, the Russians.
Russians.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to win
Yeah.
at any of that shit. Like, you need these two people face to face.
Or do we just need more celebrities telling us who to vote for? Like maybe we should ask Taylor
Yeah,
Swift.
let's-
Are you for Deb Fisher? Or are you for Osborne?
Dude,
here?
if Tay-Tay comes out and tells me which one of those is most important,
that'd be great.
I'm golden.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because we believe everything that Tay Tay does.
Hey,
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 yeah.
She fell
I don't know
shit.
how you can argue with
Oh,
Tay-Tay.
right.
Man. I thought with the political stuff, and then you bring up Osborne, I wanted to shout out our boy for the boys, Will Compton, on his podcast. Have you ever heard of Bussin' with the Boys?
No,
So they actually had Donald Trump on a couple days ago.
stop.
Donald Trump was
Nice.
on Bussin' with the Boys. Like, get out of here.
Was it good? Or was it
They-
typical?
Yeah, pretty typical. I mean, these guys are nothing more than jocks. They are dick and fart jokes, talking with the boys.
Really?
And so that's kind of how they approach Trump. And Trump's like, "Oh, I can play that game. Let's do it," So, but he talked about Tom Osborne and how he admired. I think he forgot the guy's name until they reminded him who
Oh.
Tom Osborne was. But that was just my read on how he's like, "You guys had a great coach for so long, and he was so good for so long. You know who I'm talking about? Tom Osborne. Yeah, Tom Osborne."
Oh God.
But it was pretty cool, and of course, they're just riffing and talking like in a locker room, Mm-hmm. And New York Times reached out and said, "Hey, why'd you guys laugh at that one line where he said meeting somebody in a dark alley and guy that lifts weights all day? Why'd you guys laugh at that? What was the humor in that?"
Oh my gosh.
And so freaking Will Compton, former linebacker of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, did his typical Twitter repost, his reaction post. And he went through and he's like, this is bullshit. You know what they're trying to say. You know what they're trying to do, but I do have a comment for it. And then he lifts up his cheek and just farts. Just farts into the microphone and then cuts the video. Like, he did that to the New York Times. and he tagged him. Like, he just...
That's hilarious.
And it's over. This is where we're at. It's freaking loony. It's looniness. I mean, that's in response to an interview with Trump.
That's how important our freaking
it is. Yeah.
National news outlets are.
We're trying to get Deb Fisher to do a debate. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's on bussing with the boys and talking shit.
But the reality is, like, guys like that, they're reaching the masses.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people are getting their information.
Exactly.
And so many people don't trust these other ones anymore.
Yeah.
Which, for me, it's always just been like, I have this mentality of I'm questioning everything that they're saying. I'm not questioning it to a point where, like, I don't believe you, I don't believe you, I don't believe you. It's just that I hear what you're saying. Let me think about it. Let me see. Does that seem to make sense? Does that add up? And that's what you have to do. But then when you're sitting and you're listening to someone like those dudes, if you really trust those dudes, or us, if you trust our podcast, you're sitting and listening to us talk, and you're like, those are the kind of people that I relate with. It makes sense what they're saying, and you trust it. Then you trust it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing more to it than that.
And people feel like they know folks like us, and like those other guys as well.
Yeah.
Because they're essentially having a conversation with them every single day.
And to their credit, Will Compton was really good at football. He was good at football, and he knows that, and he owns that. He owns being a slow white guy linebacker in the NFL. But he kind of uses that as a prop too. It's like, well, I must have been doing something right. I was a 10-year vet in the NFL. I must not have been that slow. So, but to your point, they're just two guys with their, everything's on their sleeve. And they can just kind of riff and have fun. And I think that's why Donald Trump realized that before maybe anybody. And he's been on all sorts of podcasts last 3 weeks. Andrew Schultz, the comedian, that podcast has exploded. He was on that a couple of weeks ago.
Well, let's get him on.
Bring on Don.
Let's do it. No, but it is amazing. And then I think Kamala Harris was on a couple of podcasts too. So.
Oh, I'm sure she did so good.
It was kind of rough. That's from what I saw. Call Her Daddy. Is that one of your favorite pods?
Call Her Daddy?
Call Her Daddy.
No, never heard of it.
Yeah, they talk about, women and being, the boss, being king. Female kings and stuff.
Instead of calling him daddy?
You call her daddy.
Call her daddy.
Call her daddy, yeah.
So that's the one she went on?
That's the big one that I think she went on recently.
Interesting.
Did she say her normal lines?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She,
did she have
I was raised in a middle class family.
Yeah, that's the good one.
Her last interview on Fox News went pretty bad to where they cut it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think she's had a few of them like that.
Yeah, it was tough. That was tough. And, I think Trump goes off script, and that's where his people are like, what are we going to do?
Right.
We would wave our hands up and down and say, cut it, but this is our guy. Let him go.
Yep.
So should we take our predictions? Do we think, are we putting our money on somebody here?
I will tell you, and I don't want to say who I
do we
like.
think is going to win?
Well, I don't know on the local scale. I don't know enough about Dan. Isn't it Dan Osborne?
Oh, I'm not talking local anymore. I'm talking big scale.
Well, I think Deb Fisher is going to win because she does have a lot more money and tenure behind her.
Okay.
But Dan's right. I think somewhere along the line she said something to the effect of, I believe in term limits. I'm not going to be one of those people that stick around forever. When my term's up, I'm out. Okay.
I think isn't that it, and maybe I'm wrong, but just a little bit that I've seen in that race, and again, where it can kind of translate to the rest of the United States, you've got one who's been in politics for a long time, and then you've got one who is deciding, I've had enough, I've heard enough, I'm getting involved now.
Yeah, and he tried to start as a Democrat, and then he's like, well, this isn't working at all, and it never really will in Nebraska. So then he went to independent, and he picked up some steam. He's running, He's picked up enough money to be running commercials like you're seeing right now. So I don't know, but I think Deb will win that. And on the national scale, I'm still up in the air. I really am.
What's
I am
gonna like? What is
too.
gonna happen? I mean, how do you even know really based on
Yeah.
like the last
Yeah.
couple elections? How can you even predict?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like when Trump got elected, 20 or what
16.
was it?
16.
2016.
Yeah.
16 was it 16? Yeah, 2016. That night it was all but called for Hillary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah.
They were like,
Yes.
Yep.
she's got it. Game's over. This thing's done. And then he gets elected. So how do you even know, right, from that scenario?
Yeah.
And then the next 4 years later,
Then they cheat.
it was basically the other way around.
Is
Yeah.
this where we hit end?
Yeah. No.
This is our first YouTube stream. You can't do that.
I can't say
They're cutting it. They're cutting it.
Yeah. We're out.
someone cheated.
Anyway, so and then 4 years later, it was basically all but called for Trump, and then
Yeah.
it was like, oh shit.
Oh, here's
No, he didn't.
380,000 votes that
Yeah.
we didn't count or
Yeah.
something.
So
Yeah.
then here we are today, and I was telling Morgan this last night because we were seeing all these stupid political commercials, and I was like, obviously you have Trump who's come back around, he's running, and then you've got this candidate who didn't even get selected for this position. I mean, the woman, if I understand correctly, if I remember, ran for president.
got toasted.
One
First
of the
debate.
first out of the group
Yeah.
of like
but I don't
10.
remember that win.
Okay,
What
but-
year?
That'd have been 2016,
Oh, okay. Okay.
right?
It would have been 2020 because Trump was the incumbent. So it was who was going to become the Democratic candidate.
She ran in 2020. I thought that was
whatever
it was.
I think it.
Okay.
And it had. I mean, I feel like it had to have been because they were trying to decide who was going to be the Democratic candidate in 2020.
Oh.
And then somehow she got selected for VP. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter. The point is that she ran for position and was the first one out of her group, if not the first one, cut out of like 8 or 10 people. So there we are, and then here we are today.
She didn't gain a vote for anything. She didn't get voted on anything.
Yeah.
She rode the coattails into the VP position, and then is now like, hey, I'm running for president. I mean, come on, man. Like, I'm not saying she is or isn't qualified or all these things about her. All I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is that you didn't earn this spot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, on that front, no. Like, and I think it's another thing where they're saying one thing, and I feel it's the exact opposite, where they're saying Donald Trump is the threat to democracy. It's like, well, this guy's getting votes. What votes did you get?
Yeah.
It's like it's just
Do you even think she wanted to do this?
it's bizarro land.
You know, because
I'd say she wanted to. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't, and that's a whole nother conversation. I honestly don't think Trump ever wanted to do this, but he's
He felt the
taken it
need
on.
to.
But yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
man, I just to even consider it, you got to have quite the ego. Like it's pretty
Yeah.
wild, you
Yeah.
know, like a god complex.
On betting, do people bet
Yeah,
on this?
Trump's winning.
Is this a thing?
Trump's taking a strong lead on
Vegas?
all the betting lines.
You got some lines on.
There is.
I'm not kidding.
Do you
yes.
have lines?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He's way ahead on now. Like that last Fox interview and the one before that, where she really got off script accidentally or couldn't hear her earpiece or something. But
Her earring, you mean?
yeah. But man, the lines really shifted towards Trump. The betting odds.
Okay.
Does that bring any skepticism for you in terms of like, it makes you wonder like what's Vegas's motivation? So like, put this guy ahead so that a bunch of people will start putting money on him.
Yeah.
So it brings more money into the system.
Right. No, on the surface, that sounds like something, right? It sounds good. But in reality, no, it's the most honest thing out there. That's why I love the sports betting talk, because these are people that have their livelihood. They actually have skin in the game, money on the line, money on the line. So if you're going to put in a $1,000 bet on Donald Trump winning the presidency, you believe that. You're trying to double your money.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if you're using metrics that are being fed to you of like, this is the best choice, like look at what everybody else is doing, and it kind of creates almost this herd mentality.
Sure. I mean, you do, I guess you could say, I think you're comparing it to like some whales out there where they'll see like a certain game. They don't like the point spread, so they'll bet the opposite way, like $300,000 That way they can come back and bet 600,000 on the way they wanted to. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Well, no, what I'm getting at is just like the mentality of, so say I'm going to bet some money, and what are the things that are going to influence my decision to bet that money? So I'm looking and I'm going, okay, Vegas is saying that this dude is X amount of points ahead. I'm seeing all these other people voting on him. Like, it makes me feel like, oh, I should bet on that dude because that's probably where it's going to go because this is what everyone else is doing.
Sure, but that's also a good representation of all of it, right? That's how betting on NFL football games work. There's public money, there's sharp money, and it's all thrown in the same pool. And so you get this like abstract idea of what everybody's thinking, and then it's up to you to decipher what does that mean.
But I think 100%. But I think from like a conspiracy standpoint, if you were to say, okay, what if the powers that be wanted everybody to think that? So that all this money gets pumped into the game, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes the other way, and then all those people lose that money.
Right.
Oh my God, you lost me at where's the line?
But I mean, sure, there could be some tampering, but I also think where, once again, people are putting their money out there, so they're not going to put it into a shaky site that they don't believe in.
Yeah.
So, depending on which offshore account, or I think Vegas has a few books taking lines on this too. But, I mean, I think everyone kind of keeps each other on the level. I think it's the most honest way to go about it. I really do. Like I trust the betting lines on who's going to win a baseball game, a football game more than I do the pregame pundits talking about it on TV.
Huh.
And that's kind of the comparison. Like you said, the pregame pundits. It's the news channels.
Yeah. Well, think of it. Do you believe CNN or Fox News talking who's going to win the presidency, or do you believe a bookie that has over $20,000 invested in this election thus far?
Right.
Who do you think?
And that is encompasses hundreds, thousands of people who have made individual little bets on what they actually feel.
Sure.
Which means in a voting scenario, if that's what they feel, that's probably the way they're voting.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is.
So it's almost like a whole nother level. Like it's like sports betting if you were the athlete. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, it's Pete Rose.
So yeah, exactly. So you're betting, and you also have the ability to influence the outcome.
Yeah, and I do believe Pete Rose, rest in peace, he just passed away, Charlie Hustle. He always said that he always bet on his teams to win, and I believe him. So, like, is that so bad? I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like it's an odd thing.
Like put your money where your mouth is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I almost admire that. I almost like that. Like, shit, yeah.
Let's go back to, didn't they just say, too, on the news that they wheeled out Jimmy Carter? And he voted, and he was he's 100 years old. You didn't see him? Like, he's lined up with his family. He's literally in a bed. He can't, I guess, walk, or he
looks dead.
I think he's not even there.
Yeah.
And he casted his vote for Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Jimmy.
That was bizarre, but yeah, I don't know. Both sides are getting kind of wacky. I mean, you're rolling out former dead presidents to vote. You're going on bussing with the boys to.
Did he shotgun any beers or fart on there or anything?
No,
oh, okay.
No, they tried to keep it together, but if you know anything about those two guys, it's impossible.
Yeah.
If Trump comes here, we're going to introduce him to the little speakeasy.
I think you'd. Well, he wouldn't get into that.
No,
he doesn't drink.
Well, we could have a little something extra special
that's
for
right.
him.
People on camera can't see this because look, the computer's
behind,
in the way.
It's behind the computer.
It's a speakeasy.
Someday they'll see it.
Okay.
Once we figure out our YouTube live thing.
Yeah, we need to get a player like that one.
And when we're not
audio.
glitchy.
Yeah, but right now we're just running it through the laptop, which we still might have to somehow, some way anyway. But
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's been working. I don't know. We can close out this election thing, but it's an interesting conversation with the common folk on what your everyday people are thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you guys can give your final recap if you want, but for me, I got no idea, man. I got no idea.
No idea about what.
I mean,
who's going to win?
I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who to vote for. And again, you know, when everyone feels like when you're saying this, you're talking about the president. I'm talking about top to bottom. It's all I do not have any great information, you know, on these more local ones. I don't feel comfortable, you know, with a lot of those in making the right decision. You know, when I look at the presidency, I do know personally what's the best decision for myself, for my family, for my economy, for my local community, and that is Donald Trump. I mean, I'll say that is the best decision right now of those two for this for what's going on in my life today. But outside of that, I got nothing. I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah, which
you know?
I feel like I'm okay with. I literally might go in and just vote
For the president?
for the Don
The Don?
and be done. I mean, because I've done it before. I
Yeah.
just don't know enough, and I hate that because it reminds me of tests where you're just like guessing, and
The
I
map
don't
test.
want to guess.
Well, for the
So-
local stuff, I'd always try to get a hold of somebody that is in the mix. Let's say it has to do with education. So, all right, you know, talk to my wife, you know, school teacher. What are
Sure,
What are,
yeah.
what are your guys saying? What would be best? What would be best for the students and the teachers? Which one of these two? And then, you know, so that's all. I'm not saying I put it on her, but just I just try to find people locally for that to lean on. That and just kind of go with what they're saying.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
unless
trusting
you're
them.
in Bellevue and you're in District 1, you're going to vote for Herb Evers.
Who?
My
Ben's
father.
dad.
My father.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Of course.
father is
That's all there
running
is.
for-
So, I
City
mean,
council,
hello.
Yeah.
If we
City
don't
council.
live there, if you don't live right in that little area, though, you can't vote.
If there's anybody listening who lives in Ward 1
Ward
of Bellevue,
1.
Nebraska, so we're talking to like, I don't know, 1,500 voters.
There's got to be one out there
I
that's
thought like
listening.
2,000,
Yeah.
2,000 voters. Okay.
Look for that last name, Evers.
Evers.
Looks like Evers, but it's Evers.
He's going to get the job done. But that's the thing. That's, you know, and that's the deal with like some of these local things. When you learn, you know, when you look into them and you learn, like, I don't expect anybody to know anything about my dad.
Yeah.
I mean, how would they know?
Right.
Yeah.
I know, you know, obviously.
Well, did
my
he go
dad,
on-
like, dude was a cop for 30 plus years. He's served the city. He's been involved in so many things that has to do with the city, those decisions.
Yeah.
That's been his life. He would be phenomenal at that position.
Well, did he
But
go
how
on
many
radio
people know that?
at all? Did he do some radio interviews? I would assume he did.
I don't know if he did any radio, to be honest with you.
Huh.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
He,
I know
he
he's
just did
door knocking a lot.
and I think that's
They go
you know, when
campaign.
you go into those smaller elections, that's some of the really important stuff. He's been spending a lot of time just going door to door to door, meeting
Yeah.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Here's who I am.
You got to get face to face.
Here's the reason why. You
Walking
know,
around.
so I think that's a great
Impressive.
strategy. But yeah, it's, you know, it's so hard to know. And I just wish that we had a little more clarity with some of these things. But
Wouldn't it be cool if there was like a thing where people could communicate with other people like on a great scale and they could like listen or watch at their convenience, you know, anytime?
it would be cool if
Yeah.
if it did
If they did, like, played the commercial and then we debated it.
if it wasn't like heavily influenced by other factors.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would
You're kind
be
of pulling.
cool.
You're kind of pulling for your dad on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, it's going to be a wild season, and the sun will come up regardless. It will.
You think?
That's I think you're right.
Is that up
that's a
for
fact,
debate?
so-
I'm kidding.
yeah.
We'll be good. But could there be a chance that no one gets voted?
What do you
Because
mean?
do you remember when you asked Siri months ago who was going to win the election?
She said Kamala by a landslide.
No, earlier, like she said nobody. She said it was like not going to happen.
Well, I think that was the theory of like there's going to be civil unrest and they're not going to be able to complete an election and all
Okay,
those kinds
so
of things.
is that still a thing?
Is it possible? Sure, any of that's possible.
Andy's
Yeah.
face is like,
Sure.
okay, you're going crazy, Morgan.
All I know,
I'm just saying, I've seen it
Um,
many times. I didn't ever ask Siri myself. But
I think we're already seeing this like bell curve of people are over AI a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to take over the world. It probably will, but when I use it at work, I can tell all it's doing is just grabbing articles and the most popular articles and then spewing it back together in the order I asked it to. I still need to go back in and rewrite it and figure out, oh, well, that's stupid because that's from the New York Times. That's a lie. You know, you can tell that AI it's only as good as the information that it's siphoning off the internet.
Yeah.
So when it's saying something like there's not going to be election, oh, great, you know, some spoof on Google probably had some crazy article that got 400,000 clicks in 2 minutes, so it took from that.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, we're going down a rabbit hole.
Are you
Should
done
I
yet?
stop?
Yeah.
No, but look what AI did this morning. It told me to reimagine your photos with a creative backdrop. This is my daughter, our daughter, at a graduation. They put her on an airplane holding a bucket of fruit. Like we're just supposed to.
Did you send that to her?
Instead of a
No.
diploma?
And so I just screenshot it. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
What
You
did it
should
do
send
that
that
for?
to
It wanted me to add this to my story or make my own. So I
She would
took a
love
screenshot.
to be on a private plane holding a bucket of fruit in her graduation.
Like
Yeah, I don't know.
AI, this is bad. So
don't
yeah,
know.
anyways.
Yeah, this is not an AI conversation, but it is a shit show. So yeah, let's be done with this.
Okay. I-
Hopefully the streaming went well.
we'll see. We may just take
Shout
this
out.
down.
Do we have another one?
Oh, yeah, we do. Vote for El
He says
Captain.
vote for El Capitan.
Yes. Is
That's my dad. He was the captain of the police department.
good
so
deal. Got my vote if I was in your district.
heck yeah,
So.
he's getting it. Yeah, buddy.
All right. Yep. And I got word a text that it's working. Streams up and
Good.
so good deal.
So we'll review this afterwards. Hopefully that all plays out okay, and then we'll keep developing this. Maybe get another camera or two in here. Just start figuring out how to do the damn thing.
Never stop stopping or stop. Yeah, whatever.
Something.
Yeah. All
something.
right.
Okay.
All right. So
Well,
I feel weird. I don't know what to do.
Well, don't we have a closing music?
Yeah, do your usual. Yeah, what do I do with my hands? Do your usual thing, and I'll end the stream at the end of the song.
Okay. All right. Boom. Here we go. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it worked out for you. Hopefully you know who you're voting for because I don't. All right. That's
All
it.
right.
You good?
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
peace.
Later.